All right, guys, we are live. Welcome to the Suit Up Podcast. The Suit Up Pod can be found
Oh no!
and
Yeah.
Spotify. Guys, if you guys are watching us here on the Painted Lines YouTube channel, joining me today is my man Loretto. Follow him on Twitter at Marcellus Durden. Check out MoviesMatrix.com and on Twitter at MoviesMatrix. What's going on, Lo?
How you doing, sir? Had a crazy day at work, but I'm ready to unwind with you awesome fellas. So
awesome. And also joining us today, we have a special guest. He is Leo. Check him out on Twitter at Leo Rydell, and check out Geekly Goods on Twitter at Geekly Goods and geeklygood.com. What's going on, Leo?
What's going on, guys? I am so ready to talk some superheroes, guys. I was looking at through my movie collection today and Googling all right, I got to pull up a full list because I got to know which ones hit me right here, man. So I am super excited. It's been a long day, a tough day. So I can't wait to unwind with you guys and talk some movies.
Yeah, dude.
hey, welcome, dude. Man. Good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, by the way, guys. This is awesome. I love that we are continuously collaborating.
Always. Also, just quick update. We have, some crazy ass brackets happening at the Suit Up channel on Twitter at SuitUpTPL. We just got done with round one of the best comic book movies of all time. We all picked our teams. We are now advancing to the Elite Eight. And my man Leo over here, who's just dying laughing, absolutely cracked the game. How does that happen, man?
I mean, man, look, I was going through my picks, and Loretto took 300, so that was my last one. I was like, all right, I had a full list of picks. Every name was scrubbed off except for Alita Battle Angel, and it was that, or I think it was that or Akira, and I was just like, all right, I gotta go Alita because I know people on Twitter enjoy Alita, and then when I tweeted out Alita Army, please help me, man, they swarmed to that post a lot more than I thought. I mean, they're very active on Twitter, and this is something I just figured out when we did the poll. So that was luck right there.
That was so
it's funny. I've always wanted to collab with you, man. But one bad thing about us being kind of kindred spirits is you took 3 of my picks, dude. You took Incredibles. You took Scott Pilgrim. I was so upset. So that's the bad part when, we have a similar mind sometimes, man, but it came back to bite me.
Yeah, man.
you and Leo definitely got that Spider-Man vibe. You took Incredibles from me. That was one of the worst moments of the podcast. I just one pick before me. 2 picks. I almost had Into the Spider-Verse and The Incredibles back to back. I think I would have completely blown away this tournament with those top 2 picks. All right, so check that out at SuitUpTPL. And let's just talk about what we're doing today. I don't even think we've talked about that yet. But today we're talking about the top 5 underrated superhero movies of all time. We're going to count it down 5 to 1. And let's see. Oh, we got JR. So JR is my guy. He's a co-host of my Party on Broad podcast. We just got done doing a podcast with Patricia Traina. She's a beat writer for the New York Giants. We just did a 2020 preview with the Eagles and the Giants. It was awesome. What's up, JR? Thanks for joining. Today, we also have Todd. What's going on, Todd? A superhero poll, MoviesMatrix. What's going on, man? Thanks for joining. All right, so let's count down our top 5 underrated superhero films. You are the special guest, Leo. What's your number 5, man?
Oh, man. So I'm going to start this list off with Unbreakable. Unbreakable for me was a different type of superhero movie because, I grew up watching Spawn, Blade, where they build these massive worlds and the lore is just so explored. But what I loved about Unbreakable is that they brought it to the real world and it felt really believable to me. I love Bruce Willis's character, but I think I like Samuel L. Jackson as Mr. Glass. I mean, what an amazing job by him. And that scene where he just falls down the stairs and every bone is breaking is just absolutely chilling. And I love the suspense in the movie. I mean, just from the train scene all the way to the end, it's a very enjoyable movie. And one scene I remember very vividly is when he's benching and he's benching with his son, and his son just keeps stacking on plate after plate after plate. And what's so cool about this movie is the first time you watch it, you're kind of in Bruce Willis's shoes where you're like, I don't know if he's a hero or not, because he had to kind of think about it. I've never gotten sick. I can lift 350. It was just these small oddities that all added up to him being a hero. Now, I'm not going to talk about what I thought about Glass, but I think Unbreakable was definitely underrated. The score was great. The acting, the themes of just suspense and discovering yourself and discovering that you're far greater than you ever thought it was an awesome movie. And I liked Unbreakable. I liked Split, but maybe I would have liked them not put together. I don't know. That's just my thing. But man, I'm going with Unbreakable as my number 5.
Awesome. Leo, we talked about this movie a little bit ago. Any quick takes on Unbreakable, man?
Oh, you mean me?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So, hey, Leo, I love that you brought that up. I love it because for me, that can't make my list because I don't think it's underrated personally. Like, that's my top 4 all-time comic movies. Like, I love Unbreakable. You could show it to a film class, break it down. The way it was filmed, the hints of the secret ending is there. And just a quick nod to that scene we talked about before, Deibs, when his son holds the gun up on him, man. Like, the tension and the acting in that scene is incredible. And he's like, Dad, I got to prove to you you're a superhero. And of course, he's like, son, put the gun down. And it's so tense. It's so suspenseful. And Shyamalan hit it out the park, man. I love that movie. But great choice.
Todd says, nice winner. So
right on, Todd.
Little extra love to my guy, M. Night Shyamalan from Philly.
I feel like he's a little salty still.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, man. Todd, I got these messages from Todd. Yeah, can we do a losers bracket? Love you, Todd. Absolutely, probably doing a losers bracket. All right, let's go on to Lowe's number 5. Go ahead, dude.
All right, man. So you know me, dude. I'm always throwing curveballs, man. My film library, my mind is like extensively like scary how many films I can dig into, but I'm going with a choice. Maybe some people might not have heard it. Maybe some people don't even know it exists. I'm going with 1990s Darkman.
Yeah, baby. Good one.
Directed by Sam Raimi, starring Liam Neeson, a lot younger than we see him now, starring Frances McDormand as well as his love interest. And it's signature Sam Raimi, man. You got the visual flair, the signature zooms in the face, the close-ups. And what's interesting is I don't think we could have gotten Spider-Man without Darkman. It's like it was almost as if this was his resume. This was his like rough draft because he fun fact, he wanted to do Batman. It went to Tim Burton, didn't go to him. He wanted to do The Shadow, which was an old serial from the 30s, but it didn't come to him. So he was like, you know what? I'm going to make my own character. And real quick, I don't want to go too long, but what I love about Darkman is visually, if you guys don't know who this is, anybody watching or listening, Darkman is covered in bandages because his face is scarred from an accident. He's got a fedora, black hat, and a black trench coat. Looks really cool. And he also has the ability, because he's a scientist, to have any face of any person, which is kind of an interesting characteristic. And the movie very much plays off of like an Invisible Man, Phantom of the Opera vibe, because he feels like a freak and he wants to get back to his it was supposed to be his fiance, but anyone that hasn't seen it, I recommend it. Fantastic action. The third act has this excellent sequence where he's hanging out of a helicopter, and I swear it actually predates Jackie Chan and Super Cop. So another little fun fact there. Sam Raimi's Darkman.
Man, that's a movie I haven't seen in a very, very long time. That's definitely one I need to go back to. I don't really have anything to add to that. What about anything, Leo?
I mean, I feel the exact same way. I was like, holy smokes, I haven't watched Darkman since I've been like 10. So, man, you talking it up. I got to go check this out again.
Oh, and another fun fact, my bad. But there's some shots that almost line up perfectly with Spider-Man, especially the first one. You know, when Peter Parker catches the guy who shot Uncle Ben and he smashes his face in the window, there's almost the same exact shot when Liam Neeson, when his face gets scarred, his face goes in the glass. There's a rainy alleyway. That's the famous alleyway that he kisses MJ upside down. There's a really cool shot of Darkman in an alleyway. It's like very Sam Raimi to its core. So any Sam Raimi fans, Evil Dead fans, I highly recommend it.
All right. Nice little segue. I'm going to talk about my number 5. And there's a little taste of Sam Raimi. I'm talking about Bruce Campbell, but I'm going my number 5, Sky High. 2005, Sky High. This movie This movie was so much fun, guys. It's like that perfect mix of Harry Potter, Mean Girls, and X-Men. It's a movie that was like far ahead of his time, guys. And like, no joke, if Kevin Feige decided to like make an X-Men movie like this, that's real. It's about kids growing up in high school and all that like pressure of bullying. And I would be totally okay with it. So I have no idea why. I have zero clue why there was never a Sky High 2 or a reboot or whatever. But, Sky High finds that like balance between like family film and superhero film and crushes it, guys. It's just really done well. It's really funny. It features some really well done, charming characters. Kurt Russell, Kelly Preston, Bruce Campbell. There's like something for everybody in this. It's not just for kids, it's for adults as well. I just love the kids in this movie. They're finding out if they're like superheroes or a sidekick, and it's just absolutely hilarious. It's like in Harry Potter when they're finding out if they're Gryffindor or if they're like all that. So there's a really fun part of this story that I really love, and it's just an overall really done film. I'm going to Sky High. Sky High was really, really good. Man, you guys see Sky High?
Yeah, dude, Sky High. I grew up with that because that's definitely like early Disney's era when Kim Possible was coming out and stuff. I actually think that's the same creators, but Sky High was amazing. I was really hoping for a sequel. You got Kurt Russell, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. You got some big hitters in that movie. And man, I just loved that tale of him like not getting his powers until later on, and he manifests both powers. And I mean, it's just such a great tale. And, I think it got like trashed by critics. And I'm like, what movie are you watching? It was so fun. And I just remember it being incredibly colorful. Every single hero kind of had like a different color. Like I noticed his love interest had like a green shirt. The main character had a blue shirt. Kurt Russell was like in this orange and blue. It was all so colorful, and it just felt like a early Marvel movie. So I just really enjoyed that movie a lot. I can't really remember the music, but man, what I do remember of it, amazing movie. And they didn't really use too typical of superpowers. I know one of them was like a plant master. So I was like, okay, besides poison ivy, that's not a super common ability at the time. And I just really love that movie, man. Like I used to watch that a lot when I was younger.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Lo?
I haven't seen it.
That's cool.
I've heard good things. I caught some of it. I thought it was kind of interesting how you're saying, Leo, how he had to find himself because he didn't. They were like, so your dad does this, your mom does this. What do you do? And he didn't do anything. I thought that was kind of interesting, but I never finished it. So I need to.
It's got some really strong characters, man. You got a kid named Warren Peace. What that is like one of the coolest names of all time. And, his name's Warren Peace. And you've got Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Part of that is she's kind of pulls away the main character, and there's like a love triangle that forms. Like, I don't know about you guys, man. If I'm going through high school, I'm going through puberty, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead comes up to me and is like, "What's up?" I'm like, "Later, guys." So anyway, that is my number 5, Sky High. I love that movie. It is a blast. Let's move on to number 4. Leo, go ahead, dude. What's your number 4?
Number 4, I am going with Power Rangers, the Mighty Morphin original Power Rangers, not the 2017, the original. And man, let me tell you guys, from the moment they jump out of the helicopter together with Red Hot Chili Peppers music screeching in the background, all the way up to the moment where they're fighting Ivan Ooze in that construction yard and they took control of all the parents. It was just a fantastic movie. And yes, my thing about that movie is for the time, it was absolutely incredible. I went back and watched it and I was just like, okay, doesn't quite have the luster it has, but now it's kind of beautifully cheesy, if that makes sense. Like it just has this factor about it that even though the fight choreography is way off and you see that, oh, that guy's fist did not hit that other guy's face, you still love the nostalgia. You love the Power Rangers, and especially for the time, it was incredibly colorful when you have them get into the Megazords and all form together. Man, it was just a really good movie. And plus, it followed the series, the Mighty Morphin series, and that was just when Jason had shifted from the Green Ranger to the White Ranger. So it was like a big moment for him and I'm sorry, Tommy was the one who transitioned, and it was a big moment for him and Jason, the Red Ranger. So I love that movie. I really enjoy the music in it. It's just some of rock's best. And like I said, it doesn't hold up as much, but you still love that nostalgic feeling of getting to see Power Rangers again. And that Go-Go theme song, whew, man, that defined my childhood a little bit. So I gotta go with that original Power Rangers. The new one wasn't too bad. It just took a little bit of time to wake up, if you will. It took until the third act until I was like very invested. But man, this Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, number 4, guys.
That is such a really good choice. And little fun fact, I actually interviewed Jason David Frank, Tommy from Power Rangers, swear to God, at Comic-Con in Philadelphia.
That is awesome.
It was so cool, man. He was all dressed up in green. He had this like ridiculously, like it almost looked like the the Riddler, like a green suit. It was fantastic. What? Any quick thoughts, Lo, on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
When I was little, I watched that movie so many times, and he's right. It doesn't hold up crazy well today. The one-liners are really, really, really like cheesy. But shout out to Paul Freeman, man. I didn't realize he's the guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark as Ivan Ooze, and he's freaking awesome. You know, the teenagers, and he's like selling, and then and he's like tearing up Zordon, the Power Rangers base. And he's like zapping Zorro, and he's like, all the things I've missed, the Spanish Inquisition, the Black Plague, and it's like, how did you know those things were happening when you were in an egg? Like, so much fun, man. And it was kind of cool how like we see Zed and Rita from the show, and he makes them look like little weenies. Like he straight up zaps Rita and Zed into a little snow globe, which was awesome. And like he's such a great villain, man. Paul Freeman.
One of the most guilty pleasures of all time is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's just so much fun. I feel like that movie's made for adults. Like that movie was made for us, not for kids like today. I feel like, I don't know, I could be totally off base. We have JR making a comment. He says, let's go! Yo, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Fully agree, JR. Just a great choice. All right, go ahead, Lo. What's your number 4, dude?
All right, man. I mean, I feel like my age is showing here, but again, I'm digging deep, going way back. 1993, we got The Gothic Tale of the Crow.
Nice. All right.
Based on a graphic novel starring Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee, R.I.P. Not exactly the martial artist his dad was, but he was a fantastic actor for the brief times we see him. He was only in a few roles. And The Crow, I mean, if he didn't get shot on set, I think his star would have rocketed from The Crow, man. It's such a fun picture. A revenge tale of a guy avenging the death of his girlfriend and himself, given some angel-like, god-like powers from a crow that's like his spirit and carries with him, and he stalks these bad guys, goes on a murderous rampage a la Kill Bill, co-starring Ernie Hudson. I love that guy. People remember him from Ghostbusters. And visually, it's very, very interesting. It was directed by Alex Proyas, who people might have remember his work in iRobot or Dark City. And I love The Crow, man. It's like the cinematography is brilliant. The gothic look it almost looks like something Tim Burton would have done, but like it's so much grittier and so much darker. The world that The Crow lives in is just really grimy, man. And you really feel it. And you also kind of get where like someone like Sting may have got his influence from when he got all gothic and stuff. Like, it's like, oh, okay, so you think you're The Crow now. But yeah, man, 1993 is The Crow.
It's so good. And it's one of those things like Brandon Lee's death, man. Like, I did not like Crow 2, Crow 3. I thought they were terrible. But yeah, The Crow's great. That's another movie, man. I need to go back and rewatch. What about you, Leo?
I gotta follow that up, man. Another one I'm super rusty on. I do know about the controversy, and I did love the fighting in that movie, but I don't really remember too much of it. I do remember the gritty world, the dark themes that it really brought to the table, and I would love to actually revisit that. I'm gonna have to throw that on the list, but I know one thing: I do not want a reboot. Just let it go. The guy, I mean, it's like that sucks what happened to him, but I don't think we need to hit the reset button on that. Do y'all?
No.
I think it could be done with the right director.
Okay.
But at the same time, they've done such a poor job of trying to keep that franchise alive. I kind of agree, and maybe we should just let that one sit for a while. So
cool. All right, my number 4. I'm going with Josh Trank's Chronicle. Back in 2012. Have you guys seen that one? Yeah. Like Chronicle was really, really fun. It kind of like brought some major superhero questions into play, like where do your powers come from? It features like 3 main actors that like no one really knew who these people were. But what I really enjoyed about Chronicle was how it found that balance of like real life and superhero. It was like a really fun balance between science fiction and real life. It raises the question of like, you see these kids getting bullied, and what could happen? What could happen if, you actually, as a teenager, get superpowers? And I thought that was really fun. I thought that little play was really, really interesting. It's a superhero story that like is about being at war with yourself. It has an awesome climax. The ending was incredible. So if, it just really pushed the envelope for superhero movies. It was very interesting. It was like one of those, found footage movies. And I thought it was absolutely nailed. It showed that, and there's another one on my list here, that you don't need a huge budget to make a great superhero film. So I'm going with number 4, Chronicle. Any quick thoughts on that?
Leo?
I just gotta say, man, I love the found footage look of Chronicle. I love the battle of self in Chronicle. Them, debating between holding back powers and not. I love that movie, man. And I thought that was the springboard to an amazing long career for Trank. And he is coming back because his recent movie Capone was pretty good. But man, Fantastic Four following that movie was a travesty. But I gotta say, loved Chronicle. I love found footage movies. So yes, good choice.
That's what I think of, is like how this movie set up Fantastic Four. And I remember just being so hype for Fantastic Four because of Chronicle. Any quick thoughts, Lo?
Well, actually, that's a perfect segue because that's my number 3.
Boom. Love it. We just lost Leo.
Nice. So let me just kick into that real quick. Hater loved the guy. Like, it put Josh Trank on the map. It really did. It made so much money. It had Michael B. Jordan in one of his first roles. Dane DeHaan, some people like him, some people don't. But he was great as that bullied, tortured, and then later at the end turning evil kid. Some sections of that movie, like I remember so vividly. I remember when they were on the freeway and they were messing with that car on the road, and out of nowhere he like just swiped with his hand and the car flies off the road, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, what is happening? And it's just interesting because, I have road rage. I'm sure everybody that drives, someone always pisses you off and you give them the finger, but what if you could do something more? And it's like, that's such a scary thought. Also, you played on the morality really well. Like, that scene where he's sitting in the junkyard and the camera's zooming in on him and he's like, the lion doesn't apologize for eating a gazelle, or he said something along those lines, and he crushes a car with like his mind, and you're just like, Jesus, like, and he started like his mind just like left him. He thought he was better than everybody else. He thought he was a superior being, and it's very interesting. Like, what would a troubled kid do with those powers? And I loved Chronicle. I was very disappointed with Fan Forstick as well. But I'm excited to see what Josh Trank can do, in his future. I think it was a promising start.
Chronicle was your number 3?
Yeah, that was my number 3.
First, before you started talking, I thought Fantastic Four was your number 3, and I was like, oh man, I love you, man, but I can't agree with you.
Man, we just watched that. It just came on to Disney Plus, and that is the most disjointed film ever. Like that. Just from the second to third act, it's just like, what movie am I watching? It just. I
feel like it started okay though. I like that relationship they did with Ben and but
I didn't think it was terrible.
The first act was strong. Like the first act, you were curious. You felt like, all right, you were following Ben and Reed. Where is this going? And it never went anywhere.
They had us in the first half. Not gonna lie. But I feel like, yeah, man, once they like leave the dimension and go into Dimension X or whatever the hell it is, it just all falls apart.
The disrespect for Doctor Doom needs to stop.
Oh my god!
You know what I mean? Like that. This character deserves an origin film, and it just has to happen. Sorry, It needs to happen. If there's that character's origin story is amazing. I've been on the Suit Up Pod and just went on rants about Doctor Doom's origin story and wanting this, and it would be such a game changer for the MCU if they were to do that. All right, I don't want to. I don't want to get into that. Man. I don't want to get into that. Let's not do that tonight.
Yeah, hey, go ahead, Leo.
I'm Doctor Doom.
No,
Number three. My number 3 is Push with Chris Evans.
Nice.
And what I love about this movie is it's a little disjointed storytelling wise. And when you get to that third act, things kind of get a little bit sloppy. But what I love about this movie is the lore, the Watchers and the Pushers and the different abilities and how they classified them. And they kind of had these different clans. And this was like Chris Evans pre-Cap America around after Fantastic Four. So, I mean, I liked him in that role, and I liked Dakota Fanning, but I don't think they had a ton of chemistry with the rest of the cast. I like Digimon Hanzo as well, but I don't think they really had a ton of chemistry together. And I don't know if I would ever want a sequel, but I did love the lore, and I would maybe even like a limited series just to like expand on some of those different clans. I don't even need the same characters. I don't need anything else. I just want that lore. That world was just built so well, in my opinion, and it just kind of felt like it went to waste. But I love the ability so much. The way the CG looked with the pushes and all the other different powers. I think one of them can manipulate blood or something like that. So it was just incredible looking. The powers were awesome. The lore and the world was really awesome. The characters, not as much, but I could kind of look past it for those amazing abilities and the amazing world. I really like this movie. I would have loved it if it just had a little bit of a more jointed story.
Never seen it.
Never seen it? Oh, man.
Damn it.
I love me some Push, man. But like I said,
it's stunning, bro. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Didn't make my list, but I enjoyed it for what it was. My cousin had a really good take on it. My cousin was saying how because we both love X-Men, and he was just saying Push was as close as we can get to a grounded perspective of if there were really mutants or enhanced individuals like the MCU says. So I loved it, man. Jaimon Hunso was great. And they even had a banshee type power, that dude that would scream.
That's right.
Yeah, dude. It was. Yeah, you're right, man. The world building was really cool in that. And Chris Evans, pre-Cap was showing off his chops. So
cool, man. Yeah, man. Darkman, Push, The Crow. This is what this is for. I really have to go back and check out all these films. All right, my number 3. I'm going with the Batman Superman movie World's Finest back in 1997. This was a 3-part series. It was a mix of Superman the Animated Series and Batman the Animated Series. It was later released as a standalone direct-to-video movie called the Batman Superman movie World's Finest. Have you guys ever seen this one?
I haven't, actually.
Yes, here we go. So,
it's all you, bro.
Yeah, so a lot really happens in this movie. There's a really fun love triangle between Lois, Bruce, and Clark. You have Lex Luthor in this film, just menacing. You have Joker, who's just insane in this movie. I don't think Lois's character has been handled well enough in the DCU, but it's really nailed. It really shines in World's Finest. There's actually a scene where she saves Batman. So it's just really, really interesting. But while Lex Luthor and Joker are amazing in this movie, World's Finest shows why Batman and Superman need each other. That's what I wanted, the DCEU to kind of lead into. If we were when they first announced that BVS, I wanted this to be the source. This would have been the perfect source material jumping into a Batman versus Superman film. It just shows how easily Superman and Batman, they rely on their weaknesses. Together, they are unstoppable. And Joker tricked Superman. It's just how they fill in each other's weaknesses is really what this movie is all about. And it's still baffling to me why this just wasn't chosen to be the backbone of the plot of Batman versus Superman. It's just an underrated gem. And it's dark, but it also has some of the positivity tones, lighter tones of a Superman animated series. So really, really definitely check out World's Finest. It's really, really good.
Does it have Mark Hamill as a Joker?
Yep.
Nice.
Ooh, Kevin Conroy's in it.
Oh,
Bruce
sweet.
Timm, they're all there. And
I'm gonna have to look that up, man. Is it on HBO Max?
I'm not really sure.
Might be. Oh man, I know what I'm queuing up
World's
tonight.
finest. It's only like 90 minutes, but every scene in that movie is earned. Like there's a lot going on. Nothing's wasted, and it just shows you why Batman and Superman need each other. And that's just, something that we didn't really see that much in the DCU, at least yet. All right, let's move on to number 2. Go ahead, Leo.
Number 2, I am going with Digimon the Movie. And this follows up the Digimon first season. And man, the best part about this movie was the mega evolutions that they introduced, like fusing the 2 Digimon together was such a cool feature that we hadn't seen in Digimon quite yet. And another thing that I really love is the music. Like they use Bare Naked Ladies in this movie. They use all kinds of great classic 90s songs, which I was like, I don't know how they got the licensing for that looking back now, but man, I love bringing in the new characters that we got in the movie, all the new Digimon. I love that movie, and I grew up just loving Digimon and Pokemon. This was actually a bit of a battle for me between this Digimon movie and the first Pokemon movie, but I love the new stories, and we kind of get like a precursor to the season 2 characters, and we explore them when they're first getting their Digimon, something that we didn't really get to explore that much. And then in season 1, you also had the main character Tai. He meets Greymon for the first time, and it's different than how it happened in the series, and it was just this fun, cool perspective of 2 people kind of forced to be friends and come together and fight an enemy, and then they end up becoming the best of friends forever. So I gotta go Digimon the Movie. I love the ending. I just such a good movie. Another one that it was based off a series that I loved in my childhood. Did you guys see Digimon the Movie?
Nope.
Oh my
awesome,
goodness!
Hey, we're exposing each other to different worlds and different films. That's what's kind of fun about it, man. So
yeah, I love it.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, I gotta
ask though, did the series come first, or was it a game first, or?
So it was the series first, and the first season and second season tie together, and then the other seasons are their own little offshoots.
Okay, because I always thought it was like a Pokemon clone or something, but is it very much like something of itself?
Yeah, it was like a competition for Pokemon, but it's different in that they don't throw Pokeballs and catch their monsters. It's definitely more of a friendship relationship type thing. So it's different, but yeah, it was definitely competition for Pokemon.
Okay.
All right. Lo, what's your number 2, man?
Oh man, now that I mentioned it, I'm just looking down. I'm like, man, I'm just this whole list. I'm in my own universe, man. So, coming from the Marcellus verse, we're going back again to the mid '90s. And I'm dead serious, man. I know this is probably going to be really, really deep for some people, but I love this movie. I'm just gonna say it. I love this movie. It was critically panned. It didn't do that well at the box office. I'm talking about 1994's The Shadow.
Okay. I never heard of it.
All right.
Never seen it.
No, hey, seriously, this one is visually really fun. Starring Alec Baldwin. Before he got on SNL, he's all funny and stuff. This was more when he's more of a serious actor. The Shadow originated as a 1930 radio show, and it was all voice work, and then eventually became a pulp magazine, kind of all the pulp serials that George Lucas and Steven Spielberg loved. It was very much in that era of the 30s. And long story short, Lamont Cranston is a little bit like Bruce Wayne. He's a wealthy guy, but he also has telekinetic and psychic powers. And the reason why they call him the Shadow is that he can cloud people's minds to where they can't see him. And I thought that concept was really cool. It also has a fantastic cast. Ian McKellen is in this. He plays a scientist because the ultimate narrative in this is Ian McKellen's building an atomic bomb, and the Shadow's trying to find it. It's got Peter Boyle from Young Frankenstein and Everybody Loves Raymond.
I love that guy.
Yeah, dude, Peter Boyle's great, man. It's got Tim Curry. If anybody remembers Tim Curry,
Pennywise, right?
yeah, man. And the villain is played by John Lone. He was in Rush Hour 2.
Okay.
He was the bad guy in Rush Hour 2. He killed Jackie Chan's father.
Okay.
So, anyways, long story short, he plays the descendant of Genghis Khan. And the whole like mythology of them and him in the shadow is very interesting because he also has telekinetic psychic abilities. And also one last thing, because I know everyone's like, what the hell is he talking about? One last thing. I love the Shadow's look, and I liked it so much. Like, I was like 7 years old. I was the Shadow for Halloween, and nobody knew who I was. Everybody thought I was a bank robber because he wears like a red scarf bandana over his face. He's got like a fedora. He has like 245s, like he pulls from his trench coat. And I just thought it looked really cool. It had a really cool look, but everyone was like, oh, you're a thief, you're a bank robber. And I was just like, no, I'm the Shadow, man. Like, but yeah, man, hey, if you guys, dude, look it up. Yeah. I love this movie. It's a lot of fun, and the mythology of it is really cool.
I literally just messaged my wife. I'm like, the Shadow. We're watching it. I don't want to forget. That's awesome. Any thoughts on that, Leo?
Man, I haven't seen it, but I just wrote it down on my list. You made it sound really good. Like when I imagine like 245s, him like whipping it out, I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, man. And then like you get the whole like other like the powers he has. It just really creates an interesting character, man.
It's really cool. All right. My number 2, I'm going with a movie that was hinted back when we saw the BVS trailers drop like over 5 years ago. I'm talking about Batman Under the Red Hood back in 2010. Have you guys seen that one?
Yes, my man.
Jason Todd, baby. Under the Red Hood just showcases Batman's like moral philosophy, his no killing rule. It shows Batman's flaws on a psychological level, which is something that really no movie has explored in the DCU. Like, Batman refuses to kill because he's an addict. I don't think many people know that. Like, if Batman breaks his one rule, like, he's going to go down a rabbit hole and he's not going to be able to stop himself from killing fucking everybody. So that's just a really fun-ish topic. That confrontation scene between Jason, Batman, and Joker rivals any scene in any DC movie. You see like Jason confront Batman and he goes like, why? I'm not talking about killing the Penguin. I'm not talking about killing Scarecrow or Dent. I'm talking about him. And I'm talking like, we want to kill him because he brought me away from you. Like, it is so tragic and it's just beautiful. And meanwhile, you see Joker like in just perfect form. He's just smiling and laughing at the entire situation. It's like a perfect example of Joker and Batman. They're never going to be separate. They're either all dying together or they're going to always live together. And that's just a really, really fun film. Like that. Under the Red Hood, man, is exactly how I would have introduced Batman into the DCU. Not only is this one of the best stories in the DC comics, but man, it just features the Joker in his prime. So, Jason Todd's death scene would have been such a beautiful way to kind of dive into Batman into the DCU right after Man of Steel. That portrayal of Joker being a kid to death with a crowbar, man, like that, I don't even like that. That's pure insane. So this movie just really hits home for me. Makes Joker in this movie just makes every villain in DC look child play. So that's my number 2, Under the Red Hood. Any quick thoughts on that, Leo?
Man, that is such a good movie. And you actually said it perfectly about Joker, because I remember a scene in the movie where he like smashes a glass because Black Mask and his thugs had him like rounded up, and he smashes a glass and like kills them and takes another one's gun and just guns down all these guys. And I'm like, this is the Joker. Now, it wasn't Mark Hamill that voiced it, right? It wasn't Mark Hamill.
It was Troy Baker.
Yeah, but so besides the voice, I love that portrayal of the Joker. This is actually one of my favorite DC animated films, so I love it. I mean, and you said it perfectly, the morality in this movie and exploring that and just getting to that tension of the Joker is the man that killed Jason Todd, and now Batman doesn't want him to kill him. It's amazing. Like, the stakes in this movie are just so high. I love this movie, man. Like, honestly, easily top 3 DC animated, period.
Love it. Any quick thoughts, Lo?
I'm surprised that didn't get drafted. Especially because we had a couple like animated films in the mix, man.
It was. I wonder what number one for me is going to be. You're probably seeing a pattern here, but that was my last pick in our draft. Was my number one, and it was either that or Under the Red Hood. That was like where I was going. I had to put one of those two on my top movie list for comic books, for comic book films. Dude, do we have? No, we shared the Chronicle, right? I think that's the one movie we shared, right, Lo?
Yeah.
All right. So other than that, we've all had different movies, correct?
Yeah, we've been all over the place.
I love it. That's amazing. So, all right, let's talk about number one. Go ahead, Leo.
Oh man, hot seat. So okay, maybe this isn't underrated, and you guys tell me, because I remember seeing this movie when I was younger and just being blown away by the fact that, you had a black superhero. And that, which when I was young, definitely was uncommon. I got to go back to 1997, only 4 years old. Saw it when I was about 7 or 8. 1997 Spawn. For the time, the amazing effects were out of this world. Like those graphics in that movie, the CG in that movie was absolutely amazing for the time. I remember the scene where Clown morphs into Violator, which is quite a name now. I was like, ooh, that doesn't really translate over well. But when Clown morphs into Violator, it is just like mind-blowingly good. I actually went back and watched that scene today and I was like, oh my God, this actually still looks incredible. And what I love so much about the movie is Michael Jai White and the suit. The suit just looks so good and it holds up to date. Like it looks so organic and real and believable. And just the way it like morphs onto him with that green smog is just absolutely flawless. Man, like I really love Spawn for so many things. Martin Sheen was in it. And I got to revisit that movie for a full watch because the CG is amazing. The acting's amazing. Well, the acting's not amazing, but it's good. And I love Michael Jai White, and I love the CG in the movie. So easily Spawn for me at number one. I was wondering, I'm like, I don't know if these guys going to hate me for this one, but man, love me some Spawn.
Oh, man, not here. Not here. Go ahead, though.
Yeah, that was actually on our top like comic superhero list. That was one of my honorable mentions. I love Spawn, man, and hats off to John Leguizamo as the Clown. He was hilarious with his fat suit and like off the wall. Because I mean, a lot of people forget like he's a pretty good actor, but like some people forget he was a comedian like when he started. And you're right, man, you nailed it. I mean, his red cape. Especially that ending shot when it's just flowing. It looks like straight up out of a McFarlane comic. Like it was awesome. My only regret with their CG is I did not like the way Hell looked, and I didn't like the way the devil looked. I don't know if he was supposed to be like an ape or I don't know. But besides the Hell, when they went into Hell, it looked great. It looked fantastic, especially when he descends from that ballroom and he like comes through the glass. And then he had the chains too, when the chains come off of like his like collarbone, and it was awesome. Yes. I love Spawn, man. Like it was so badass. And another thing, I hate that they chopped it up, and it might have been a studio thing, but it was heavily edited. It was supposed to be R. They cut it to PG-13, and you definitely left a lot of stuff like on the floor. So
yeah, kudos to John Leguizamo. So good. I look back at Spawn as like one of those so bad it's good movies. Like it totally CGI is like so but at the time it was mind-blowing. The costumes, the visual effects are absolutely dynamic, but that Hell scene, man, it's one of those like I don't care. It's so earned and it's so well done that it's very forgivable. I loved it. Spawn is we talked about this movie during our top comic book movies of all time podcast, Loretto and I. So we love Spawn. All right, let's go to number 2, Lo.
Number 1?
Oh, sorry, my bad. Number 1.
I was like, are we going back? You guys don't want me to talk about the Shadow again. All right. Hey, so I mean, I think this one you guys should be familiar with. I love the legend of this character. Bob Kane said it himself. Bob Kane said that this character did heavily inspire Bruce Wayne. and I'm going with 1998's Mask of Zorro.
Nice. Very
Directed by Martin Campbell, starring Antonio Banderas, Sir Anthony Hopkins, and the beautiful Catherine Zeta-Jones. Deibs knows this because we've done a few shows together now. I love adventure films. I love like swashbuckling. I think I was on your chat when you guys were talking about pirates, Leo. When you guys, you and Amanda were talking about pirates. Like that shit. Pardon me. That stuff speaks to me. And what I love about the Mask of Zorro is, interestingly enough, the original character of Zorro is Don Diego de la Vega. He's played by Anthony Hopkins. So it's almost like a Batman Beyond because, you know, we're seeing the original Zorro as an older figure. He's not who he was. And I love that he takes in Antonio Banderas under his wing. Antonio Banderas is just an outlaw, a thief, some like jerk that he picks up off the street, but he sees something in him. And that whole sequence when they train in the cave is excellent. I mean, I love Star Wars and I love like Karate Kid, and there's something, you know, the Rocky, like there's something about when you take a person that doesn't see what in himself, what he could be, and then the mentor brings it out of him. Like that relationship is just, it's something you can relate to, and it's something that it speaks to me as well. And it's great. I mean, he's doing push-ups over candles, and then like Anthony Hopkins has his feet on him, and then he's like, and then what I love about that too, it wasn't just about the combat. He also was teaching Antonio Banderas how to be a gentleman, because eventually, as that movie progressed, he had to infiltrate the Spanish like elite. So that was kind of interesting too. And overall, it's such a fun movie, man. Like I love Indiana Jones and all those sweeping adventures, and Mask of Zorro is one of my favorites, man.
I've only seen it like once or twice, and I really enjoyed it. But that's, yeah, like we said 1,000 times during this podcast, like I'm gonna go watch that as soon as we're done here. Any quick comments on it, Leo?
I'm gonna do the same because I loved Zorro when I was younger. Like, holy smokes, it's full of adventure. It was refreshing for the time. I'm kind of a little jealous I didn't put this on my list because I love Zorro, and I actually used to watch the old 50s series with my parents. So I knew the Anthony Hopkins character before the movie, and then seeing the movie was almost just like completing the lore for me. And like, I'm like, oh my God, that's my original Zorro training the new guy. Like that was such a cool move. And like you said, Loretto, you put it perfectly. He didn't train him in only fighting. It was how to actually be Zorro. And that's top to bottom, the way you walk, the way you talk, the everything, being a gentleman, fighting, training. It was everything. And I just, man, that first Zorro was awesome. I got to go back and watch that. I literally have a list here of stuff I'm going to watch after this.
Hey, I used to watch the one on Disney too, bro. That's why that one, like, I just spoke to me, especially when I was a kid, man. I'm right there with you.
Very cool. All right, let's wrap it up here. My number one, obviously, you guys know I'm a big Batman fan. All right, I got to go with the first Batman movie, origin movie, and that is Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Just everyone raves and raves and raves about Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins, but I'm going to go back to the first origin movie, and that is The Mask of Phantasm, which is one of the best Batman stories. It's a deep dive into something that I love, a critical element of Batman's character that I love, and that is the world's greatest detective. And that's something that I'm really excited to see be explored finally in the Batman, Matt Reeves' The Batman. That's going to be really, really fun. But yeah, Mask of the Phantasm, guys, it's all about, you know, the sacrifices that Bruce Wayne has to do in his pursuit of justice. Like this guy is just crying. There's a scene in this movie where he's literally at his parents' grave at their tombstone and talking to his parents about why he can't have what he wants. And it's raining and it's dark and it's so emotional. So Mask of the Phantasm, like it's all about bringing, there's a love interest named Andrea. I don't want to spoil the movie, but he's basically kind of choosing like Spider-Man 2. Like, do I continue the life of Batman, or do I, you know, do I deserve love? Do I deserve true love? So, you know, obviously I said it 1,000 times on our podcast. Kevin Conroy is my favorite Batman. He's so good on this. I haven't even touched on Mark Hamill's Joker in this one. But yeah, Mask of the Phantasm, just fantastic. Just a classic Batman story, and it's criminal that we haven't seen this translated on the big screen, just like all three of those Batman films I just talked about. You guys see Mask of the Phantasm at all?
Yes. And it's from Batman it's a standalone from Batman the Animated Series, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, Kevin Conroy is my Batman too. So I was hoping this was kind of like if they did a Batman in the DCEU, this is the direction I was hoping they would go. You know, that battle of, do I wear the cowl every night or do I go out with Andrea Beaumont? Like what do I have to do? And then of course Mark Hamill. He is a legendary Joker. Has been some time, though, since I've seen it. So I'm going to have to go give it another revisit. But absolutely love this Batman movie. When I think of the top animated movies, is DC animated movies, is this one. And then probably Mask of the Red Hood. Or, Under the Red Hood. And then what would be my number 3? I don't want to say Dark Apocalypse War, but I'm on a high with that one right now. So I'll put that at number 3 for now. But
you know what also made my list was Son of Batman. That is an underrated animated Batman flick. Just check that out. But anyway, back to Mask of Phantasm. Like, I love how this movie, I love how it showcases Batman and Bruce Wayne as just in total isolation. This guy's so lonely, you know. So, you know, it's another one of those movies like Chronicle that shows you don't need a $200 million budget and tons of explosions to make a great Batman flick. Any quick comments, Lo?
Oh man, I saw it when I was a kid. Like Leo, I kind of need to revisit it, but now because of you guys, I might do like a Red Hood Phantasm double feature, man. I think they're both on HBO Max. Okay. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. I gotta double check.
Can we do that for DC fandom or something? Like I think.
Oh, like a watch party?
Yes.
Fun, dude. Because I grew up with the show too, the Batman the Animated Series. So you know, that I was into it, but I definitely want to refresh my memory a little bit. So
fantastic. This turned out great, by the way. Just other than Chronicle, we all kind of like threw our, some love letters out there. And I definitely have a lot to watch. Leo, do you want to plug anything about Geekly Goods before we wrap it up?
Yeah, guys, come check us out on youtube.com/geeklygood, geeklygood.com, or Twitter, guys. We are a community of geeks for geeks, everybody. And every single Sunday, we do a live stream. So pop on by, come say hey, come say what's up. And I would love to have you guys on it as well sometime. I had a really fun time, guys. And what I do have to say is that when we're going through our list and I was hearing all these movies that I hadn't seen before, like World's Finest and The Shadow. Man, I am hyped to check these out, especially The Shadow and World's Finest. I mean, like, oh my goodness, the way you made World's Finest sound, I'm like, that sounds like the BVS I wanted. So I'm excited to check that out, man. And thank you guys so much for having me on. This has been a great stream, guys.
Awesome. Go ahead, Lo. Plug MoviesMatrix, my man.
Yeah, man. So I'm actually, I was a little bit of a rut, but I'm currently writing a new Remember Wednesday piece. I'm highlighting the long, tortured road to Freddy versus Jason. Deibs knows I'm a big horror guy.
Yeah, baby.
And like the road to that was just so interesting to me. And I'm digging deep. I'm getting that ready for you guys, hopefully by next Wednesday. So check it out if you have time. MoviesMatrix.com.
We have one little comment here. JR says the greatest superhero we never thought we needed was Megamind. Did you guys see Megamind?
I barely remember. I think Brad Pitt was like the hero, right? And then Will Ferrell was like the bad guy, I think.
Yeah, it was like kind of all about how little. I think I've only seen it once, but I'm pretty sure
I barely remember it.
It's about how like the littlest differences can separate you between a superhero and a supervillain, right? I think.
Hey, I might need to revisit that one, man. I know that a lot of people on Twitter actually talk about how underrated it is. So
awesome. Thanks for the comment, JR. All right. For Leo, for Lo, for myself, thanks for watching, guys. Peace. Stay awesome.
Peace.